Do you feel like that game midweek helps going into the weekend?
Yeah, I think it's always good. We lost a little bit of rhythm earlier on in the season, so I think just matches always help. You get to work through your processes. You get to do it in real situations, and sometimes, of course, you always want to win the games, but you need to see how that process works. Right now, we've seen that in these last few games. I thought last night the guys were very good in how they handled the game. Against a difficult opponent that was going to sit very low in the low block and just try and make our life difficult. And I think they did that, for large pieces of the game. But we were in control of the match, and that's what we want to see as we prepare for Ottawa.
Is that part of the reason why you went with a pretty full lineup yesterday? Most of your regulars were in. Was it so you can get kind of just a feel going with your guys?
Yeah, I think you look at it two ways. One, it's an important game. These games you want to make sure that you're winning to get yourself into the next round. It's a competition we want to see ourselves do well in. And the other part of it is you need to see where guys are a little bit maybe, coming back from injury. Getting certain minutes, other guys who you basically want to protect, looking at a few days away. So it's a little bit of combination of everything.
Pastius getting on the score sheet. Do you feel like that'll help him going forward, just to kind of get one on the board?
Yeah, 100%. If you're a goal scorer, you're a guy that's counted on to score goals anytime the ball goes in the back of the net. And when you look at the beginning of the year, you always want your first one because then you don't have to think about it again. And I think that's very important for strikers. And he's a guy who's working well in training. He's a guy that we know gets into the right spots in the box, and he's shown that in the game yesterday, in that goal, and a few other situations. As long as he keeps on doing that, he showed his pedigree last year, and we know he's going to score more goals for us going forward.
Yeah, Borger's playing in that more of a 10 spot yesterday. Is that something you see continuing? Is there something specific about his skill set that you think kind of brings it out more in that position?
Yeah, I think with him, it's a player who we like to move around the pitch. Depending on the opponent, depending on tactical things that we want to work on, and I think that's the one thing that he brings to the field. He's not stuck to one side of the field. He can play on the left, he can play on the right, and he can play inside in the 10. And he's had success in each one of those positions. So I think that's something we'll see, gradually with him moving around in different parts of the season based on what we want and the personnel we're using.
Ideally, do you want to have Campbell and Welshman both on the pitch?
Ideally, I want 3 points. I want lots of goals. I want a lot of good things. It all depends. It depends on the situation. Yesterday, we wanted to do something a little bit different to an opponent that's usually used to standard situations. And when I talk about that, is playing a classic 4-3-3 or 4-4-2 in their league. This was a different setup that they would see that maybe they're not used to. So, we look at that every game and with every opponent.
Uh, the two guys, what differences, what different skill sets does each guy bring to the lineup?
Yeah, I think when you look at Taryn, I think he's a fox in the box. The ball gets in there, and he's always on it, and he's got an excellent strike rate to goal. And then Emery brings a lot of verticality to his play. Ability to be physical and to get in behind opponents and really instill some fear in the defenders who are getting him. And then that a lot of times opens up pockets for other players. So I think they bring something distinctly different to what they do, and they've both done a great job last night.
Is it ever too soon to look at the standings and where you sit?
It's something I never look at. From each year, it's the most important thing is what we do in our games. This is a league that's based on the playoff format. 4 teams qualify for the playoffs, and when you get there, nobody remembers who finished first, who finished fourth. We've seen that over last year as well. So the most important thing for us is just getting into a groove of things, trying to collect the points where we need them, and then we move from there.
Okay, and just your thoughts on your opponent this weekend?
Yeah, it's a good team. It's a team that's done well in their first games of the season. With mixed results, but a team that's become very good defensively. They know what they want on the field. They keep very good shape, and I think it's going to be a very interesting match on Sunday.